Hi, I'm Ed Parco, your host of, I guess, one of the hosts of Helping the Brave. I'm here with Amy T. Meyer. How you doing, Amy?
I'm doing really well. Thank you. Thank you.
And we have a guest today, and that's Monifa
Monique,
Caines,
yes. Hello.
Queen of Spades Style. Hello. Thanks for coming on today.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Amy gave me a lot. She said I could use your stuff because I have no hair.
Oh, yes, definitely. I have something for you.
Oh, nice.
She gave me a hard time saying this is going to be really boring for you. I'm like, you know what? It's about people's transition stories. Every out of the military throughout life, how we change. It's important that we help vets understand how to start a business. If they want to do a business, whatever they want, we're here to help them get through that process.
Mhm.
You know, we want to be there for them, whatever that is. So,
Mhm.
Amy, do you have anything before we get going?
Not before we get going, but I love a lot of her art. Was kind of Facebook stalking you and looking at a lot of your displays and stuff like that. So I absolutely love your
Thank you
products.
so much. Thank you.
And that's the website would be queenofspadestyle.com.
.com, yes. And I am doing the website over. So every time I learn a little bit more about technology, it will show in my website. Yes.
So you want to take us back and tell us your story, why you picked the Air Force, if I remember right, correct?
Oh, yes, of course.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, where else?
Well, my dad was in the Air Force and my uncle was in the Air Force, so there you go. I decided to go with Navy. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. No, and
that hurt. That's it. That was the end of our show today.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you and good night.
Look at this. Amy's already drinking the heavy stuff, hard stuff already.
Well, no, thank you for your service. But I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and while growing up, I always knew I wanted to help people. Didn't know how I wanted to help people. So when I was in high school, this was the age where we had computers, but not really as fantastic as they are now. So I couldn't really Google what are all the different types of ways to help people. So I went the traditional route. And when I went to Howard University and I studied nursing. And so after I graduated, I was going to work and just coming home, going to work, coming home, and there was something missing. I felt like I wasn't doing enough for myself, for society. I was ready to really help people. And I was looking for something more that just I needed to fulfill me. And so I had a friend that was thinking about joining the Air Force, and I went with her and, of course, listened to a recruiter. And then I did my due diligence and I went to the other armed forces and listened to their speech and what they can do. But I just resonated with the Air Force because with nursing and we have flight nursing, which also is like a hospital in the air. There's really mission-focused nursing. And I just said I wanted to be a part of that. The Air Force resonated with me the best. And I raised my hand and joined the Air Force. And then while I told my recruiter, I said, I want you to send me far away. You send me wherever, I'm ready to go. And he sent me, and even though I went to school in Washington, D.C., my first duty station was Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. So I didn't go too far, but I did presidential support there. But learned so much about team. I know when people say, oh, we're a team, I know what a team is. And sometimes, no, you're not a team. But in the military and in the Air Force, you do work as a team. And I learned so much about being selfless. I learned so much about teamwork. I learned so much about honor. I learned so much about service, you name it. And it has sculpted me from who I used to be to the woman I was becoming. and loving my time in the Air Force and serving and taking care of people. And then I was sent overseas, and I was in Aviano Air Base, Italy. And I absolutely loved what I did over there. Absolutely, I loved what I did, but I will let you know, nursing could be a double-edged sword. I love taking care of people, but sometimes when they say war is hell, it is the truth. There aren't a lot of good days when there's a war. And I was getting patients that were coming back and from being shot at, bombs, other things, losing limbs, eyesight. And it took a toll on me as a nurse, because I'm not just trying to help you get better. I'm also there to help you transition, whether it's sending you back to where you just came from and in a good mental state that you can go back, or maybe you cannot go back. And I remember the person that I took care of that made me think, I can't do this anymore right now. Now, mind you, I love nursing. I went to school for nursing. I had nursing loans, but there was this one patient, and this was the one that tipped me over the edge. And he was caught behind enemy lines, but he was retrieved. But unfortunately, he would be a double amputee. There was no way to save his legs. And I was spending time with him, talking to him. He was not speaking at all. In fact, he was grieving. And then he said to me as I was walking out the room one day, he said, "Captain Caines, I'll never be able to chase my son around again." Now, this is the story. This is just one story out of 50,000 stories of people I have taken care of. And I just felt like I was losing myself. I was somewhat robotic, but all in all, I took care of my patients, but still, it was getting to a point where I just said, maybe nursing isn't all that it's cracked up to be, especially during war. So I did cross-train into personnel after that assignment was over, and became the wing exec for Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, Nevada. And then I decided to get out. I decided to get out because I spent 9 wonderful years in the Air Force, but did not want the military lifestyle anymore at that point. So I said, I'm going to get out. But that was my time in the Air Force.
All right. So did you give up nursing fully?
I did. There's a way that you can still have your license and be active.
My wife's a nurse.
Oh, Kaiser. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And thank her.
But don't make her head any bigger.
No, she deserves it. No, but I realized that if you do a certain type of nursing, sometimes it's hard to slow it down. If you did any type of emergency nursing, right, you may say that's where it's at. That's what I used to say. But yes, are there other specialties of nursing? But I did not want to revisit it, and I had a beautiful experience with the art of nursing, and I just decided I was going to find something else that makes me happy.
Well, that's what it's all about, is making yourself happy. So you must have been in during the Iraq War.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for your service. That's tough. So
yeah, I think it's tough on anybody during that time. I think we all have some mental war wounds if you've been through that or any type of war. So yeah, definitely.
I think nursing by itself tends to be, kind of a warrior craft. My bonus son wants to go into nursing.
That's a beautiful look. nursing is a beautiful art, and I would do it again. What nursing gave me was I was able to look at each person individually now to this day, because you treat every person as an individual, not group them together, and really hone my communication skills, because it is hard sometimes to get someone back to their activities of daily living, and sometimes back to going out there and fight. So it's also knowing how to talk to each person and who they are, and see them for who they are and what they need.
And I think that's super relevant. Like if you asked Javon why he wants to go into nursing, and his dad wanted to be a nurse before he passed, but he's been in and out of foster care programs and different things like that. And he felt like when he had to go to the hospital, it was the nurses that listened and cared and followed up and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right. And that is not to say take anything away from the team and our team of doctors, physical therapists, respiratory therapists, nutritionists, you name it. But with the nurses, we are there with people all day, every day. So yes, we know each person more on an individual aspect than the name and their diagnosis.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. What made you go into styling products?
Yes. Okay.
Hold on. Before we get there, did you
Yes.
get right into it when you left the service, your transition story out? Did you plan a year out that you were leaving out of the service? You knew it, or it was just one day you said, I'm done, I'm out of here, I'm not going to sign my contract again, or what?
Yeah, I knew it in the last job I took, which was a year out. And I started to get ready before, because I was in a master's program. So I was preparing myself, because the bulk of my work history I was a nurse, a registered nurse. So how can I leave the Air Force and really transition to something else? So I went and received an MBA while I was in, and then really didn't have a specialty for anything. But during the TAPS briefing, we had, I know it was called TAPS a long time ago. Okay, so I'm dating myself, but during the TAPS briefing, we had some companies come to us and talk to us about their company, and that they love veterans, and that they want to hire veterans, and they help mold us and everything like that. So I just went to school to make sure I was prepared to say I have another level of expertise. So, because it's hard for people, if you're a registered nurse and you want to do something else, they don't see it. They look at you as a nurse, but I would also see pilots that they would not tell a pilot to, go to Delta and fly. They would hire pilots and mold them. But when I would say I'm a nurse, they're like, well, we don't have any nursing jobs. So I knew from the get-go that I needed something more to help them see me differently, so that I can get another job and transition out of nursing.
All right, Amy.
So,
now you can do your...
Yes.
Okay. So what made you think hairstyle products? And
right. So before I got into my products with hair accessories, I was working I've worked for a few corporate 10 companies, Fortune 10 companies. And there was one day I said, I am not going to put chemicals in my hair anymore. And when I was transitioning from the Air Force and going, leaving the Air Force, I said, I can finally be me. I could be me. I'm going to just do what I want now. And no, you can't go work for a large corporation and just be you and do what you want. I still had to look like their view of what's professional. I still had to put chemicals in my hair. I had to look this way. I had to speak this way. It was a lot. So sometimes you do morph into something so that you can fit in. And that's exactly what I did. But as a Black woman, our hair is naturally curly, and we put chemicals in it to make it straighter. And I have a sensitive scalp, and a lot of times I would get burns on my scalp or lose some hair and have like patches of hair gone or just be dried out. And one day, and I would have to do this about every 4 to 6 weeks. And one day I just said, I'm done. Why am I hurting myself? This is supposed to be my time. I'm supposed to be free of I can do what I want now. So I just said, I'm not going to put any more chemicals in my hair. And then when I stopped doing that, I went to the stores to find hair accessories. And I remember the first big box retailer I walked in, there were 2 aisles of hair accessories. Could not find one for textured hair. Everything was for straight hair. So looking at that, it was subtle that, my hair, basically they're not making anything for my hair. And what I did was I realized after going through a few other stores, I have to make my own. I have to make my own hair accessories. So I started making my own head wraps, my own bandanas. I started making my own hair combs, bending and breaking and contorting things to make my own hair clips. Because when one has thicker hair, you need different types of things, and one size does not fit all. And so I just started being creative and making my own things. And it started attracting people in the street that would run up to me and say, hey, where'd you get that? Where'd you buy that? And I would say, oh, I made it. But I loved doing what I was doing, and then re-educating myself on my hair and what it needs and what type of accessories it needs. And so that is how I said, I'm going to bet on me one day, and I'm going to start my own business where I help other women that are seeking accessories for their grade of hair and help them educate themselves on their hair and help them find their beauty. Because my tagline is changing the narrative of what's beautiful. And sometimes you have to let people know that everything is beautiful, but you also have to help them see and remind them of the beauty that's within whatever they want to do to be their authentic selves.
Very cool.
So there was an entrepreneur right there born when they found out there was nothing there, and they knew a solution to that problem.
Right. Right. And you're right. And it's not like I started the first hair accessory. You can find hair accessories at somebody's house. They're making it. It was never mainstream. It was always like a secret. And why? I don't know.
Not to digress from you, because this is your story and I really appreciate it. But I just say I used to be on the board of it was called the Dash Center, Dancing, Acting, Singing, and Harmony. And it was here in Tacoma. And we did productions with kids, and probably 98% of our kids were kids of color. And we always, when we did productions, had to make hair things. I could never go to just a store and buy things. So it was always the fabric store, and then learning, not being a person of color, learning different fabrics that are better for hair and scalp and all sorts of different things. But we always had to make them. And I think it's wonderful what you're doing. And so, yeah.
Well, thank you for learning. But I realized when I worked at this big firm that I wouldn't be accepted for my hair. And this is before, of course, I started my business. This is when I transitioned and stopped putting chemicals in my hair. And then I went and put braids in my hair and I put it in a bun. And then after a few weeks, I took the braids out and bought this gel because I had to still go to work. I had to still assimilate and put all this gel in my hair to slick it back and put in a bun. And I tell you, my hair probably looked like a helmet that day, but I had to go to work. And then I was at my desk and a manager walked by and said, "Oh, you took your braids out." And I was so happy he noticed. I was like, "Yeah, oh my God, he knows my hair. Oh, that's great." And then he said, "Good, now you look professional." And it just really hit me like a ton of bricks that, wow, there is one idea of what is professional. And all that time that I was wearing my braids, and I'm walking around, people were looking at me like I was not professional. And then I just remember there were some meetings I were not invited to during that time. There was a presentation I was not invited to. So yes, it was subtle, but I got it. I got it.
I just think you're at the wrong company. That's all it was.
Well, you're right.
Reason, and please, I don't not take this from me, but we do a lot with a gentleman named Steve D. Sims. Yes. All right, he's got a ring here, right? He's got big earrings and he's that guy is so unique. He draws people to him. You just have to be yourself, no matter where you are, and you'll find the right place that'll fit in with you.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
What, Amy? You rolled your eyes. I saw your eyes go up. Was you thinking, or were you saying?
Well, I mean, I think we're getting there. I don't necessarily think that. I think it's a slippery slope depending on what you're doing. So, like with Javon, when he gets through nursing school or college or whatever, we've talked about like his middle name is Anthony. Of doing like like. Could he put out job applications as Javon and then job applications as Anthony and see what the difference is?
Well,
even like the last speakeasy we went to, and I apologize for stopping you. Tucker Max said that the CEO of his company, I believe his name was even Javon, went by JT. And is only now going by Javon, and he's the CEO.
No doubt. I was going to say, Amy, you're spot on. When I was coming out of the military, and those, what I didn't tell you at the time is the people that were recruiting veterans, they gave out their cards. They said, "Send me your resume." And there were 3 recruiters, and I sent each one my resume. I thought I was great. I thought my resume was wonderful, but I didn't get an email. I didn't get a call. Other people did. And then I was talking to my friend. I was like, should I call them and reach out and see what happened? Because I was all new to this. And she said, "Did you use your first name?" And I said, "Yeah, like, duh." And then she said, "Don't do that." And I went home, and my middle name is Claudia. All I did was erase Monifa, put Claudia, send back out my resume to those 3 recruiters. Within 2 days, I had phone calls. So I'm letting you know, yeah, it's out there.
Yeah, and well, I wasn't saying it wasn't out there. I'm just saying, if you're going to be different than other people, I don't care who that is. We have so many people in our group that are different. Period. Yeah. Just in general, you might not fit into the mainstream and certain places so then you have to look at what's more important to me. What do I want? What in my life do I want to go to? And I'm sorry, this is a 54-year-old white guy telling you this. Just slap me. Okay. But I'm just saying, it just depends on, everything's a little different. And I was just bringing up Steve Sims because he is definitely not, you would think he's a biker. That's what you would see. You walk up to him, you're like, this guy is nobody. And he was the man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because people will judge you. People will judge you. But I was really saying to Amy, when you're talking about the name, yeah, sometimes you can't get through the recruiters to get an interview. So when you're thinking about the first name or the middle name, yeah, it depending on where the resume is going. Yeah, you may have to think about that.
Well, and I think I do think like you're both right. Like in the corporate world, that's a concern because you're trying to mold into what they see as a nurse within their hospital or within their what did your tagline?
Changing
Narrative.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. But it also for you came to a tipping point, and maybe the Air Force was like a great way for you to, to see your own value and to see that, this is enough. Now I'm going to be truly all of my authentic self. And and neither one of those are the wrong answer. Like whatever's the best answer for you is the best answer, right? So
Right.
Javon wants to be in nursing his whole life, then maybe he's Tony for years and years and years. But if he might have a moment where he goes, okay, this was great and I love doing this while I did it, but now I'm going to go over and do this thing.
Yes.
And so I think, if we brought it back to the military, what do you think in the Air Force that you used during that process or even now?
Of course, in the Air Force, I was Captain Caines. So, but
And you didn't mess with her.
No, but
she's a nurse. She could really mess with you.
Yeah, I could, but of course that would never happen. No,
well, that was with us at so when I was stationed at Camp Pendleton in Southern California. Whenever you got pulled over, they asked you where you worked. You always said 13 area. That's where they kept the medical records of the shot cards, right? So they knew that that you might lose their shot card if they were, Yeah.
I know something might happen. So I would say it's in the Air Force, that was the spark of me saying, I can't wait to be me. Because even though by the time I left, I was a captain and stuff. There was some other things going on, not just with just being a woman. I remember someone looked at me and said, wow, you're pretty new. And I was like, no, 6 years. Because they were looking in the Air Force, we wear the rank on our collars. And so they were just looking at my sleeves and thinking that I just got in. I just came in as an airman or something. And also, when I left nursing and got into personnel and worked in logistics and security forces at the time, it was something to just be a woman in those areas and still command the respect and having to prove yourself. And I say that to be as a woman because I've seen it over and over and over again in the Air Force, where in certain disciplines, there are not a lot of women officers. So when they are introduced into a certain area, you already know you have to be 2 times better and 4 times harder. And that's just how it is.
And that's too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that shouldn't be that way. Because let me tell you, I'm the first to say I'll hire every woman I could ever get my hands on in the company because they work so much harder than everybody else. So.
Not that they weren't happy we were there, but it's just like.
I understand what you're getting. Old boys network. So used to certain people. Yeah, you're just used to. Oh, now we got to have like different bathrooms, and now we have to have stupid stuff.
And certain conversations and certain taps on the shoulder for certain prize TDYs or something. Yeah, that was going on.
All right.
Well, but I still love my time in the Air Force.
Well, it was the first real thing you had to conform to that made it to where you didn't have a choice. You had to conform. After that, you had your choices, what you wanted, how much you wanted to conform,
To
and what you wanted
conform.
to do.
Exactly. You're right.
Now, looking back, what do you still use today that you learned in the military?
Oh gosh.
Just one thing. You don't have to do everything.
Well, I know everybody probably says their leadership skills.
No.
That's true. Okay. Well, I will talk to you about my organizational skills.
You're one of those.
Yes.
You're like my wife.
Yes.
Everything's color coded and have little things all.
Well, it doesn't sit right with me if things are not organized. I want to pull my hair out. But knowing how to organize 50,000 things at one time and still beat a deadline, I still use those organizational skills today, and how I know what's a priority, what's urgent, what's emergent, what needs to be done now, the layers of stuff I can get started on and tie it up, and what's a suspense date that I set. So I still use that today that I learned. And you have to juggle 50,000 things in the military plus people, and I do it today. So I would say, I mean, I use a lot of things, but definitely how to organize.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you volunteer with anything today?
Yes. Well, I'm starting to volunteer. Fortunately for me, and I'm very proud of this, because of my head wraps, a few cancer survivors have reached out to me and wanted to know what they should buy. They're new to this, their hair is falling out, and just want something else. And I take so much pride in talking to a few of them and telling them about the different fibers they should use, and wearing their head, and the satin and the grade of satin and stuff like that. And so now I'm starting to partner with 501c3s that deal with cancer, hospitals, organizations, so that I can have a class, help women that want to wear something different on their head and not just wigs, but help them find that, jazz them up a little bit if they want to. So I really am going to hone what I do, but make it so that I can help other women that have difficulty and don't know anything about what I do, and introduce them and make them more comfortable, and also teach them the different ways that they can wear it. So I will be doing that volunteer work but that feeds my soul anyway, because that also pulls that nursing back up. And plus, with my business, with the creativity and helping people understand the head wraps and what they can do with them.
Now I have a question. So do you do this full time, or do you have okay. All right. Because I looked at your website. I loved how the fact that you said, here, get to know everybody in the company. And it was you and all the different pictures and the pictures. That was amazing.
That is true, right? That is very true when you're a solopreneur. And especially when you're starting out, you are the janitor, you are the CEO, the CFO, customer service, shipping, you doing everything. So yes, I did put my picture.
That was the best I've ever seen, and I've looked at many websites. That was really good.
Thank you so much for that.
And also, even down the road when you make it, sometimes you'll be like, "No one took that trash out. I'll take care of that." And then they go, "What are you doing? Why are you taking the trash out?" It's like, because I've done every job in this company. I can do this one again.
Yes, and it's good to know how to do every job in the company, especially once one scales and grows, and so you know what questions to ask.
That's a great, that right there. We're done. Drop the mic. We're out of here. Well, no, because that's so true. You need to know everything, so you also know that you have expectations of what it's going to take that person to do the job that you've done. Definitely. And and I think a lot, me being the prior military plus doing every job I've ever done in my company in the mortgage industry, irritates my staff and other people, because I know how long it should take, and had my own escrow company, and that pissed off a lot of escrow officers, because I know exactly how long it takes to do this, because we have done it. So just please get it over to us.
Yes, I agree. And that's why I continue to take classes and learn. And it's not just I start a business and that's it. I continue to invest in myself. I have taken classes at Dog Tag. I've taken classes at the Rosie Network, Service to CEO. I've taken classes at Project Opportunity. Because each stage of my business, I believe that since I'm at a new stage, I look at things differently. And so I want to take another entrepreneur class to see where I am and how I'm going to develop. So as I learn, I continue to beef up the other areas that I do myself, because now I know a little bit more and I see things differently and I'm looking at things differently, and I'm knowing what I need to add or take away, or the process. And so I continue to, usually you'll always find me taking another course.
Funny you brought up the Rosie Network. We had Stephanie Brown on.
Oh yeah,
a week ago.
definitely. Yes,
she was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a lot? Because you must have went through their stuff as an entrepreneur, trying to get, as a veteran, trying to understand, right?
Yeah. Rose, I get something from everything. And when I took Service to CEO through the Rosie Network, I was at a stage in my company where I was just starting to get traction. So I wanted to see that some people don't know how to scale. It's hard when all of a sudden it's a nice micro business, and then all of a sudden people are ordering from you. And then how do you take that momentum and keep it and marketing and keep it going up and up and up, instead of just a peak in a long valley. So they helped me understand that. But that's because I was at that time in my business that I can ask those questions. If I were just, that's why I said at every stage, if I just started my business and never took another course, I wouldn't have known some of the processes and things and resources to help me scale, because I wouldn't have been asking that question at that time. But yes, when I took Service to CEO, that was my focus going into it.
Yeah, it's funny how our kids tell us, I want to get out of school so I don't have to learn anymore, right? It's like,
you
aren't you learning?
I'm a learner, especially, well, whatever you do, because you still got to, depending on what you have to do, your CEUs, or there's new technology or stuff. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, you got to keep up. You have to keep up.
Now that we learned everything about you, what would you recommend somebody who's in the military when they're thinking about transition? Is there anything that you would tell them that they should do, or anything you would put out there?
I would first say search within yourself to find out what you want to do, because a lot of people coming out that I speak to don't have a clue. They don't know anything outside the military, so they will fall into something as a job instead of a career. And you can ask someone as simple as, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? Or it's not just you're security forces, so you're going to be a cop. Is that what you want to do? So my first thing is always, when I talk to people that are transitioning, let's talk about what you always thought you wanted to do, what you like. Let's take some tests and find out. Let's talk to people, because I want to help people myself when I talk to them. And I want them to think about not just a job, but how they're going to build a career. And even if they took their first job outside the military, what sort of skills and what will they take from that job as they move on in life? Because a lot of times you're just finding out who you are. But the time to think about your next step and what you may want to do, instead of I just want to find a job, is try to find what category you want that job to be. And to me, I always talk to people about that. Let's slow it down. Let's think about not just finding a job, but what's something you may want to get into. And especially if they got a year or two out, okay, what kind of courses can we get you into to make sure that resume looks very good to slip you into a position in that category.
Have you done any of the personality testing?
Oh yeah, I've done a few.
because you didn't like the first results. You thought you get better results with the second one.
I've done different ones. They never work out for me, but
because we always do that in art to make sure that you're in the fit for the right job, because there's nothing wrong. Because I mean, even if you know how to talk to somebody, you know, like, yeah, when they come to me, get to the point when I go to them, how's your day? How's it going on?
Yes.
It's like,
yes, that when you speak with this person, you have to talk to them this way, and then this person needs this to understand you. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I know. And I'm sorry, it's real hard to do that from my side.
No, after about 3 days, you're back to who you are, and then that's that. So yes,
and then that person leaves.
Exactly.
Monifa, it was really great getting to know you. I'm not kicking you off, but I just wanted to put that out there in case I didn't tell you that. It's really nice to get you.
Same here. Same here. It's a pleasure to be here and share my story, and just know that I would also tell anybody coming out to just find your community, find like-minded people, whether it's veterans or people in the same category of work that you're going into, that are positive, that can help you grow, and you also in turn help them. But I do believe people need to find that village, find that community, and not think that you are on your own.
I agree. Go ahead, Amy. Thank you for coming on. I wanted to thank you as well. But I wanted to say that I would love to see your products in some of the arts fields. Like, just because I do see it as being such a needed product line. And so I would love to see that with some different kids' arts initiatives and stuff like that.
Oh, yes. I would love that too. So definitely let's talk one day. But I just think there is so many avenues that could come out of one thing. Mm-hmm. And just like I was saying before, I was concentrating on the different hair accessories, but I just am in love that cancer survivors and women with cancer have reached out to me, that now I'm going a different direction also with volunteering and stuff like that. You just don't know what could come of what you are doing and how it can help other people that you didn't even think about in the beginning.
Right. And if anybody, I'm sure you will, just like us, if anybody has any questions or they want to know more information, they can always email us at info@helpingthebrave. Yes. What's your email?
hello@queenofspadesstyle.com.
Look at that.
So just say hello at
Queen of Spades. That's like my other one, ask@edparkco.com.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before we go? But don't go anywhere, Monifa. I want to talk to you after this. So.
Okay. Oh, no. I just want to say thank you again. And again, everybody, thank you for listening. And if you have any questions about anything I've said or did not say, just contact me at hello@queenofspadesstyle.com. I am always here to help. And that's seriously, whatever I do in life, that's my mission. I just want to help. But I do it differently now. Thank you.
Anything for you, Amy?
No, just if you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and follow us. And thank you everybody for tuning in. And don't forget to share.
You're getting there. Give it another couple months. You're getting
there. It's too much.
This is great. And again, Monifa, thank you so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate getting to know you, your story. And if there's anything we can do for you in the future going forward, or if you want to get involved, just let us know. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Everybody else, again, as like Amy said, just do what she said. And we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Again, we're here Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3:30 Pacific. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.